well. I think everybody just got the message. When Michael hits the stage, everybody goes, shh. So, welcome to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. My name is John, and I'd also like to welcome our virtual friends. For those who are here every week, there's a camera mounted in the box up there. It only sees the stage. So you can either be live like you are, or we live stream. We also archive, so if you say, well, you should have seen that guy last night, he was really good. Good news. You can go to the Two-Way Street and pick it up on the archive. We're a listening room. We do follow CDC rules. And for the most part, I think everybody has figured that out. So tonight we have, of course, we're being an all-volunteer staff. We have two ladies who are standing in the dark over there. I'll give you Jennifer first, yay. Diane, our able assistant, and Joel doing the sound and the camera. Tim's on vacation, for those who know. Tim's on vacation. And my name is? Oh, man. I didn't even hear a Bob. Just to let you know, we are a fair trade music venue. We support the Musicians Union Local 1000. So that's been that way for a long, long time. There you go. So tonight, we have our union man here, Michael Johnathon in the coffee house. There's a flyer on the table that gives you a bio, which I'm not going to go into because you want to hear him play. So with that, are you ready, Michael? No. Oh. All right, then we'll add that for a while. I did that once for like a half an hour with one of our virtual shows. All right, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Winter skies and even songs. Everything is beautiful and nothing is wrong. But I know I got the blues tonight. Midnight comes on my windowsill. My baby's gone and I'm lonesome. Still I know I got the blues tonight. I hear a moan of a midnight train. Can I catch that dream holding you again? Well, I said a prayer, but nobody's there. That's all right. It's just the blues tonight. I hear a moan of a midnight train. Can I catch that dream holding you again? Well, I said a prayer and nobody's there. That's all right. It's just the blues tonight. It's all right now. It's just the blues tonight. Thank you, everybody. It's very nice to be here. I left Kentucky this morning in torrential rains, and it's nice to be in a sunny place. Kentucky's been pretty hammered with floods. She was a good wife. She loved her husband very, very much. But he was one of those guys that just focused on his, you know the type? Just focused on his work. Well, she had been through this one time before. She was married once to a guy that was just focused on his work. And he was just never home, and he wasn't paying attention. And she was tired of it. She divorced that guy, and now she's married to this new guy, and he's doing it again. And when she was married to the first guy, she wrote him a poem about how she felt about him being gone all the time, and he didn't pay attention, and they got divorced. Now she's married to the new guy, and he's just working all the time and focused on what he's doing. She says, you know, you're doing the same thing my first husband did. I don't want that to happen again. She pulled out that old poem that she wrote to the first husband. She gave it to the new guy. She said, you need to read this. This is how I feel. And he looked at that and didn't really register. And he put it away, and he just kept on working and kept on working, kept on trying, kept on focused on what he was doing. A year and a half goes by, and she's finally just fed up completely. And she pulls out that poem. She says, I showed you this once before. This is how I feel. We're not going to make it as a couple. You don't change your ways. And this time he looked at that poem, and it just cut him to pieces. And he realized how his wife felt. And to show his wife how important her words were, he put that song to music. And to show his wife how important she was, he was going to tell the whole world how she felt. So he put that song on his album. And that song became a huge hit, and he was never home. Child who arrived just the other day. He came in the world in the usual way, and there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking for I knew it. And as he grew, he said, I want to be like you, Dad. You know I want to be like you. Well, my boy turned 10 the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Teach me to throw, I said, not today. I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. And he turned and walked away, and his smile never dimmed. He said, I want to be like him. You know I want to be like him. Yes, I do. And the cat's in the cradle in the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, I don't know when. We'll get together then, son. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, he came from college the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? Shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. I'll see you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, I've long since retired and my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, but I don't have the time. See, the new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu, but it was sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's always nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, my boy was just like me. My boy was just like me. and the cat's in the cradle in the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. True story. That's what happened to Harry Chapin. So I told you Kentucky has been inundated with floods, and less than a year ago, Kentucky had massive tornadoes on the western side of the state. A tornado 2 miles wide stayed on the ground for nearly 200 miles and wiped out everything in its path. And I do this syndicated broadcast called Wood Songs. It's on 500 plus radio stations, it's on PBS stations, it's on RFD television, it's on American Forces Radio Network, and it's all volunteer run. Everybody that comes on the show are volunteers, and none of the artists get paid, like Roger McGuinn or Judy Collins. This past Monday we had Rhonda Vincent and the Rage, big bluegrass stars. And we do it in this beautiful 500-seat theater. And when you do something out of love, I believe that love is the greatest transaction of the arts. That's why you're charged a ticket tonight. No. More things happen out of love than anything else. Everybody starts playing because they love it. And I wanted Wood Songs to prove that love is the greatest transaction of the arts, which is why everybody, including myself, works for free. And when you have something that big with an audience of over 2 million people a week, you can do something good with it. And so we decided that these huge tornadoes wiped out everything in the western side of the state, that we would reach out to the Wood Songs community and we would replace the instruments lost by all the musicians out there. And we collected over 1,000 instruments from all over the nation, and we distributed them absolutely free to the musicians of Western Kentucky. And now, on the eastern side of the state, there's these massive floods, and so we're doing the same thing. Started this week. We're collecting instruments from all over the nation. We're going to replace the instruments lost. If you go to woodsongs.com/flood, you get to see what we're doing. But this is a song that I collected when I lived in a little Appalachian town called Mousie, Kentucky. M-O-U-S-I-E. Mousie was 2 mountains away. I don't expect you to sing it that way. You're probably going to sound like a bunch of white people in a basement. But I'd love you to sing that line, "Gone, gonna rise again," all the way through the song. It's about how the love for tradition is gone, but the songwriter hopes it'll rise again in the hearts of young people. Can you give me a little bit more juice, Joel? I remember the year when my granddaddy died, gone. Gonna rise again, that's your line. And we dug his grave on a mountainside, gone. Gonna rise again. I was too young to understand the way he felt all about the land, but I could read his history in his hand. He said, gone, gonna rise again. Doing good. Now there's corn in the crib and apples in the bin, gone, gonna rise again. Hay in the loft, cotton in the gin, gone, gonna rise again. There's ham in the smokehouse, hogs in the trough. You know he never had a lot, but he worked like a mule for the little that he got. He said, gone, gonna rise again. Let's pick a little now. So I'm sitting on a ridge above this farm, he said, gone. And I'm thinking of my people that have moved on, now gone. You're like a tree that grows from the mountain ground. You know the storms of life come and cut you down, but the new wood springs from the roots underground, gone, gonna rise again. I said the new wood springs from the roots underground, gone, gonna rise again. Thank you. Price of gas in Kentucky is $3.39, and then I come out here and it's $4.79. I'm like, no wonder you people are shooting each other. Good Lord. No, and that's not true. People don't sing about cars no more. Cool cars died in the oil wars. It really doesn't sound very sexy to say I drive a little four-cylinder Chevrolet. Nobody sings about cars anymore. I got a little Toyota and it goes really far. It's a little itty-bitty teeny-weeny car. It's a fuel-efficient automobile made of a whole lot of plastic and not much steel. Nobody sings about cars anymore. Climb into a little Subaru. The steering wheel might castrate you. A tiny backseat, I am told, is automatic birth control. Corvette, Mustang, 4 on the floor. Souped up Camaro, Hemi engine, 2-door. A roomy 8-cylinder convertible dream. Slip into a car today, you're busting up your spleen. Man, nobody sings about cars anymore. One more time. Nobody sings about cars no more. Cool cars died in the oil wars. It really doesn't sound very sexy to say I drive a little 4-cylinder Chevrolet. He was barely just 20 years old. He had a record deal for less than 18 months. He's a stubborn little coot. He just wanted to do things his way in an age where record labels told you how to look, what your name would be, what you're going to sing, how they're going to be arranged, who the musicians are that you're going to play with, and he would have none of that. So he had this big argument with his record label and a huge argument with his management, and he fired his manager and he fired his band, and he had 2 weeks to go on tour. And so he reached out to some of his friends. One of them was a 19-year-old kid back in his hometown. He says, "Hey, I need you to be in my band." The kid says, "I don't know how to play anything." He says, "Well, you play the bass. It's easy." He says, "I don't know how to play the bass." He says, "You got 2 weeks to learn how to play the bass." So the kid learned, 19 years old, he learned, he went and met the artist and everything, and they're getting in this ice-cold bus in the middle of winter. It was so cold in this bus that they had to burn newspapers in the bus to keep warm. And so they're on the road, and they're doing these terrible gigs, and they just hated it and everything, and they had the flu, and they had to do laundry and stuff. And so the artist says, forget this. He shells out $230, and he leases a plane. So they're getting ready to go on this plane and get to the next gig and let everybody else ride that ice-cold bus in the middle of winter with no heat whatsoever. And so the artist is getting ready to shut the doors of this little plane, and he looks down because his little 19-year-old brand new bass player buddy couldn't fit on the plane. And so the artist looks down at the kid and says, "I hope you don't freeze to death on that bus." And the 19-year-old kid, little boy from Lubbock, Texas, named Waylon Jennings, looked up at Buddy Holly and said, "I hope your plane don't crash." That's the last thing Buddy Holly heard Waylon Jennings say as he shut that door, and he had less than 3 minutes to live. This is the last song Buddy Holly recorded before getting on that plane. Written by another kid, 16-year-old boy named Paul Anka. There you go, and baby, here am I. Well, you left me here so I can sit and cry. Well, golly gee, what have you done to me? And I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Do you remember, baby, last September, how you held me tight each and every night? Well, whoopsie daisy, how you drove me crazy. And I guess it doesn't matter anymore. There's no use in me crying. I've done everything. Now I'm sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights, and I've wasted all my days over you. You go your way, I'll I'll go mine, now and forever till the end of time. I'll find somebody new, and baby, we'll say we're through. Oh, you won't matter anymore. There's no use in me to cry, and I've done everything. Now I'm sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights, and I've wasted all my days over you. You go your way, I'll go mine, now and forever till the end of time. I'll find somebody new, and baby, we'll say we're through. You won't matter anymore, and you won't matter anymore. Buddy Holly. Everybody comfortable? You could hear okay, and the sound is okay in the room? You could give Joel applause for that. He's a good sound man. So, there's two things I need to let you know. One, this is a banjo. Don't be frightened. It's a long neck banjo because size matters. You know the best way to tune a banjo? Wire cutters. You know that joke? You know why there's no banjos in the movie Star Wars? Because it's the future. You know what you call a beautiful woman on the arms of a banjo player? A tattoo. See, you're trying to outdo me. Don't you dare. What an amazing year it was. This virus went all over the world. Millions of people were dying. Everybody, everywhere, they're wearing masks and they can't socialize. The economies were stopped dead in their tracks and nations were at each other's throat. People were tense and fed up, and even the President of the United States got the virus. Of course, I'm talking about President Woodrow Wilson, 1918, and the Spanish influenza flu. He was in Paris when he caught it. He got so sick that he couldn't act as the president anymore, and people didn't realize his wife took over the presidency of the United States. In all that darkness and all that depression, all those terrible things going on, millions of people dying, a little songwriter sat in his room and said, "This is going to end someday." So he wrote one of the most positive songs at a time of such thunderous stress and anxiety in the world. And it went like this. Blue skies shining on me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebird, they're singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shine so bright, never saw things looking so bright. Noticing the day hurrying by when you're in love, my how they fly like blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue days, yeah, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Irving Berlin. So when I left Kentucky this morning, I live in a log cabin on 7 acres, and I tore out of there because the rains were coming. I have this little bridge that floods, and when it floods, you can't get over the bridge, and that rain was pouring down. So I tore out of the house, and I forgot my overnight bag with all my clothes in it. So normally I dress in nice slacks with a collared shirt out of respect for you, the audience. Tonight I'm dressed like a homeless man. So please forgive me for that. Thank you. Bluegrass music is wonderful. I love bluegrass music. The Stanley Brothers were probably among the finest in American history, next to Bill Monroe and all. Ralph Stanley, what a legend he was, and got to know him and Bill a little bit when I was living in Mousy, Kentucky. But they introduced a song to the bluegrass world named Little Maggie that everybody plays like rip-roaring fast with big, muscular tones with the guitars and the dobros and stuff and everything. When you listen to the words, that's not a very nice song, as are most folk songs. If you listen to the words, this particular song, Little Maggie, that's so famous in the bluegrass world, is about a father that sells the services of his daughter to others. And that's what Little Maggie's about. And I listened to it and I was like, well, that's not very nice, which is why I'm about to play it for you. A dram glass, by the way, is a little shot glass that they serve whiskey in. Yonder goes little Maggie with a dram glass in her hand, drinking away her troubles by courting another man. Oh, how can I ever stand it to see those two blue eyes shining in the moonlight like a diamond in the sky. Last time I saw little Maggie, she was sitting by the banks of the sea with a 44 round her bosom. She had a banjo on her knee, went like this. Come on, lay down your next gold dollar, lay down your watch and chain. Little Maggie's gonna dance for Daddy. Listen to her banjo ring. One more time. Oh, yonder goes little Maggie with a dram glass in her hand, drinking away her troubles by courting another man. We're going to take a little break so Bob over there doesn't get mad at me. When we come back, got more banjo songs, songs about war and love and peace and America's front porch and the greatest artist suck story known to mankind's history. So I hope you'll stay for that. Thank you.
Oh, he left it on. there he is. Yeah, we're going to take a short break. We have some merch on the counter that this young gentleman here brought along with him. He'd just soon not take it home. There's some books, there's some CDs, and miscellaneous other stuff. Just to let you know, like I say, take a short break. I usually gauge it when there's nobody waiting in line for the washroom, which is around 10 or 15 minutes. Let's see. Oh, I think that's about it for now. So do what you're going to do. Refill your coffee cup, buy all of his merch, hit the washroom, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to get started on the second set, and it's really great to see you here. And my name is not Bob. Again, that's the standard joke. Betsy and Larry are not here tonight, so nobody called me Bob except for our man right here. So anyway, next Friday in this room, same time, we have a local guy named Steve Dawson. Doors, we always say they open at 7:30, but some people get here early. Tomorrow is a sing-around in this room from 2 to 4. There are books in the shelves over there, or you can bring your own. You can sing along. You can play along. You can do whatever you want to do, or just sit back and listen. So like I say, 2 to 4. That's the Plank Road Folklore Society who are the guys with that. We are kind of kissing cousins with the Plank Road. I say this every week, and I think Jen even put some flyers out. We sure would like to have some more volunteers. Volunteer can volunteer to pour coffee, take money at the door, and really it can be just as simple as maybe say once a month. The upside is you get free coffee, you get free snacks, you get free music, and all you got to do is put a little time in. Oh, and you get to hang out with John, because Joel wrote on my notes when I wasn't looking. He goes, "John, you are awesome." So I guess I am. I'll have to tell my wife when I get home tonight. She might not find that same level, but what can I do? So we've got people booked, I think, pretty much through the end of this year and starting into next year, every Friday. So you don't need to worry. Of course, you can always go to the website and go, "Ooh, that guy sounds good." Or you can just show up like in the olden days before all of that and just say, "Who's playing tonight?" Either way, you're going to get a nice, relatively inexpensive evening. So with that, are you ready to go, sir?
Born ready.
Okay. Me too. So come on down.
I'm so grateful that you stayed. Thank you.
We're grateful you stayed.
Well, I'm here for the free coffee. I'm going to need it because I got to drive back to Kentucky. Here's a song called The Coin. It's based on an afternoon that I was in a motel and had to wait to get to the venue for sound check. And there was a news story on a former news channel called CNN. Remember them when they used to tell the news? Now they're opinion channels. They tell you their opinion about what's going on. But anyway, it was a report about one of the astronauts that landed on the moon. I won't say his name because I did talk to him and promised not to say who it was because it's a true story. But he devoted his life to the space program, and his wife had to raise their children alone, and she got very unhappy, and they divorced, and he had a grandson that wanted to be just like his grandfather and be an astronaut. So he had to join the Air Force first, and when America went and attacked Kuwait and stuff, he was a pilot, and he got shot down, severely injured, and ended up dying. And here he is now, an astronaut in his later years, and he's in a retirement home, and he walks down the sidewalks of this retirement home. People look at him like just a regular person. They have no idea that this man walked on the moon. They have no clue. And they asked him, he said, "Of all the things you've done in your life, what's the one thing you regret the most?" And he said it was thinking what he did was more important than what he had. There's an old man in a rocking chair. He's got fading eyes. He's got graying hair. And now and then he'll look up high, and he recalls there was a time he once flew those skies. And as a young man, all the ladies would swoon. And now no one knows he walked on the moon. So he sits alone every day, just thinking back, saying, I can't believe I did all that. And a silver lady on her front porch swing, she sits alone every day, not doing much of anything. And as she watches the world walk by, oh, she recalls there was a time she had such a busy life. And she raised all her children alone, and had a grandson injured in Iraq. Now she sits alone every day, just thinking back, saying, I can't believe I did all that. And a soldier in his hospital bed, still full of shock from what his doctor said. And through a window he sees a brilliant sky, and he passes time now, and he just waits to die. And all he wants is to fly and walk upon the moon, just like his grandfather did. But now he knows he'll never be looking back. He'll never say, I can't believe I did all that. So we all have but this single chance, that we live our lives full of love and dance, and wrap our arms around a starry night, and then sail every ocean by candlelight. Every day is a golden coin. We spend one little moment at a time. So live it full and hold nothing back, so you can say, I can't believe I did all that. My favorite hero of all time was Henry David Thoreau, and I saw a play. I'd never seen a play before. Even when I was in high school, I didn't never seen a play. I hated plays. I liked the play. I thought to myself, how hard can it be to write a play? It's pretty damn hard. So I decided to write one about Henry David Thoreau. I thought the most dramatic time in the history of American literature, the global green movement, was the final 2 days he was in that cabin before leaving Walden Pond. He was there for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days exactly. He went there to write a book in tribute to his deceased brother John. He was close to his brother John. He loved his brother John. He and his brother John decided to start a little school together that failed, and then his brother John got sick, and his fiance was all upset, and then his brother died, and Henry wanted to stay really close to his brother, and he thought a good way to do that would be by proposing to his dead brother's fiance, who thought that was the most ickiest thing she could ever hear of. She turned him down. He got all depressed, goes out in the woods, in Walden Woods, and he's all depressed and stuff. And people don't really realize this, but Henry David Thoreau started a forest fire in Walden Woods that burned down 150 acres of woods. And so he gets all embarrassed and stuff. He's cantankerous. He won't pay his taxes. They throw him in jail. And his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson comes to him and says, "Look, dude, you're really getting out of hand here. You know, I'm buying up the acres around Walden Pond. I'm trying to save the pond from the axemen. And you need to, I want you to go out in the woods and just get away from people for a while." So Henry built himself a $28 cabin. He went there to write a book to his brother John. He gets in the cabin, and he starts to try to write, and he has writer's block. He can't write this book. And after 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, he leaves that cabin with 7 journals full of notes about dirt, birds, bees, tree rings, rain, firewood, everything that you can imagine, nothing that made any sense. It wasn't a story. It wasn't an essay. It had no structure to it. It wasn't a book or anything. It was just notes about what he thought about, the gush of what he was thinking. And that's all he had, and he thought he was a total failure and everything. It took him 7 years. Finally, this little book gets published. Nobody buys it. Sells a total of 236 copies. He writes to his friends in his diary. He says, "I now have a journal. I now have a library of 900 volumes. 700 I wrote myself," because nobody bought those books. And so he's out in the forest a few years later. He's counting tree rings in the rain like a real smart guy does, and he dies. He died at 44 years old, and Ralph Waldo Emerson stood in that church before the folks that attended, and he looked at them and he said, "You have no idea who is just in your midst." And so I wrote a play between Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson and a couple of other characters about the final 2 days. He was in that cabin because he did not realize the book about those notes that he wrote became the book Walden. And it wasn't until 30 years later that college students found this thin little book on their college shelves at a time when America's horizon was changing from mountains and trees to rooftops and chimneys and factories and stuff. And it became an important thing. And Walden became the Bible of the American Green Movement. But when he died, he thought he was a complete, total failure. Now, the woman sitting back there, Loretta, raise your hand. Loretta Sawyer took that play, and to date, over 9,600 colleges and schools and companies have performed the Walden play in 42 nations because of her and the way she distributed it. Yeah. I thought, wouldn't it be something, after I wrote the play and I was thinking about it, what would have happened if John's fiancée, Ellen Sewell, had said yes and decided to marry Henry? What if she was there with him in that cabin instead of him being alone? All alone with you on a winter's evening, it's me, just you and me on a winter's eve. Falling winter snow, a fireplace glowing in your eyes. Tonight, silent firelight, this a winter's eve. I believe in winter songs I believe in snow falling down, January wine and firelight. But the beauty of this winter's night can't compare to the precious sight of you alone with me this winter's eve. I believe in winter songs. I believe in snow falling down, January wine and firelight. But the beauty of this winter's night can't compare to the precious sight of you alone with me this winter's eve. Falling winter snow, a fireplace glowing in your eyes. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that disturbs people. China is surrounding Taiwan because an 80-year-old woman went to visit. Never thought an 80-year-old woman could be so threatening. What Putin is doing in Ukraine, I still don't understand. Do you? Why he's there, what he's doing, the horror of it all. Iran wants to build nuclear weapons, and people across America seem to be shooting each other, and it's not even safe to be in schools anymore. It's like we've lost our sense of America's front porch. Remember what that was like? People don't even have front porches anymore. New homes. The great feng shui welcome to your friends and neighbors and family is your garage door. The thing you leave by is what welcomes people to your home. After World War II, the world had just gone through this horrific bloodbath. And it was just a few years later, here we go again in North and South Korea, and American soldiers were being sent over there now to fight and die. And there was a young Canadian fella who was like, I can't believe it. We just ended World War II and we're fighting again over what? And so he wrote a song about peace, a love song about peace. Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed I saw the world agree to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw this mighty room, and the room was filled with men and women, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. Oh, and when that paper was all signed and a million copies made. Well, they all joined hands and they bowed their heads, and grateful words they prayed. And the people in the streets below, well, they were dancing round and round, and swords and guns and uniforms they scattered on the ground. Oh, last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed I saw the world agree to put an end to war. Thank you. You know, war can give birth to some beautiful songs. That sounds like a contradiction, but I'm going to give you a really good example. During the Civil War, America was fighting itself. The North was fighting the South. The South was angry at the North. People were mistreating each other. One of the bloodiest times in American history and stuff. And this songwriter heard a story about a soldier came home to his young bride, and who was just very excited that her husband was finally home. And just a few days after he got home, he catches him under a willow tree with a hot blonde chick. Well, she did what any self-respecting woman in folk music would do. She shot them both. So he took that song, and he took that story, and he wrote a song about it. And it became really popular because the soldiers in the North really liked that song because it was about vengeance and retribution and shooting people. And the people in the South, the soldiers in the South, really liked the song too because it was about vengeance and retribution and shooting people. It became one of the most famous, popular songs of the Civil War era. And then Abraham Lincoln himself got shot, and well, you can't sing a song like this anymore, and the song kind of just went away and died. Then the turn of the century, around 1900, the barbershop quartets and the parlor folks discovered the song, and they realized that this song about shooting people and retribution and vengeance and the wife shooting the husband with the hot blonde chick under the willow tree had a really nice chorus to it. So it became really popular among the barbershop quartets and everything, and it became really famous in America again. And then the 1920s came, and the Depression hit, and people were jumping out of the buildings and committing suicide, and everything was terrible, and World War I and everything. So you can't sing a song like this anymore, and it kind of died and went away. Until 1960, an American pop star needed a ballad. RCA Records said he needs a ballad. He's got too many rock songs out there. So they rediscovered the Civil War song about the young wife who catches the husband under the willow tree with a hot blonde chick and shoots them both. And they said, well, we can't sing that, so let's change the title and let's change the words. And so they did that. And on a sound stage in Nashville, Tennessee, on the second take, Elvis Presley nails the vocal to a song that you know as Love Me Tender. I'm going to sing you the original Civil War ballad about the young wife who catches her husband under the willow tree with the hot blonde chick and pops them both. As a blossom in the trees beneath that willow tree sat my love, and I heard him sing to that orally. Well, my heart was broken, sad and blue, for my love to thee. that your heart no longer true and you gave to orally. They sang upon that morning star beneath that willow tree. There I laid my true love down right next to that skank orally. I put that word in there. Orally, orally, made of golden hair. Springtime came along with thee, and my love so fair. Take my heart and take my ring, I give it all to thee. And keep them for eternity along with orally. Orally, orally, made of golden hair. Springtime came along with thee, and my love so fair. Springtime came along with thee, and my love so. Pretty little song, isn't it? Well, I'm going to stay on the theme about war for a second because the opinion of teenagers is very important, especially today when their noses are in cell phones all the time. We are living among the first generation in human history that gets its music and art as flat-screen, two-dimensional reinterpretations of reality. Who just banged on the... Was that, you agree, or are you already mad at me? It's true, right? I mean, they everything, you know, look at their world. They're emailed about a band. They YouTube the band, they Google the band, they iTunes the band, they download the band, they're done. They've never seen the band live. They've never held anything in their hand. It's all ones and zeros. The world of art and music is ones and zeros. The 19-year-old boy was seeing America on the edge of war, and everybody in the world was just scared to death and everything. And he was like, I'm going to have to do something. I want to do something. He tried to write a poem and a song, but he wasn't really that good at it. So he's at his friend Dave Van Ronk's house in New York City in Greenwich Village. And Dave Van Ronk had this huge album collection, and he had an album by a Kentucky folk singer named Gene Ritchie. And on this album was this ballad called Fair Nottingham Town, which he noticed matched the meter of a poem, an anti-war poem that he had just written, 19 years old. President Kennedy was at the Bay of Pigs, and there was eyeballing nuclear war with Russia, eyeball to eyeball, and everybody was going underneath desks in schools and building bomb shelters and stuff. So he wrote this poem, but he couldn't think of a song to put it to. So he stole fair Nottingham in town from Gene Ritchie's album, and he thought, okay, this is great. So he goes down to the coffee houses and stuff, and he starts playing this song that he wrote about war and stuff. And what he didn't realize is everybody had Gene Ritchie's album. They knew he stole it. But I was listening to the words of this thing, and it's as appropriate today. Remember, he was 19 years old when he wrote this. It's as appropriate today as when he wrote it in 1960. Come, you masters of war, you that build all the guns, you that build the death planes and build the big bombs, you that hide behind walls and hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your mask. You that never done nothing but build to destroy. You play with my world like it's your little toy. You put a gun in my hand and you hide from my eyes. And you turn and run farther when fast bullets fly. Like Judas of old, you lie and you deceive. This holy war can be won. You want me to believe, but I see through your eyes, and I see through your brain, like I see through this water that runs down my drain. Well, I hope that you die, that your death comes soon. I'll follow your casket in the pale afternoon, and I'll watch while you're lowered into your deathbed, and I'll stand by your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. Here's a song written based on a quote that goes, "The earth laughs and flowers." In other words, you take all this green movement and all this global warming and all this fossil fuel argument, all you have to do, people, is plant a lot of trees. Problem is, planting trees is not cost effective. There's no money transfer in people planting trees. The earth laughs and flowers. What it means is that if you leave the earth alone, it'll overcome anything mankind does to it. It will laugh at everything we do because it'll always win. Hair of gold and eyes like stars shine like diamonds on my heart. You are love and earth to me, so flowers I will give to thee. The morning sun like marigolds I will give for you to hold. All my love and loyalty, They're in these flowers I give to thee. I will give you roses red. I'll make for you a flower bed, a living crimson tapestry. Flowers I will give to thee. I hope the nighttime stars that shine give you rest and peace of mind. In the morning light you'll see a world of flowers I give to thee. I will give you roses red. I'll pick for you a flower bed, a living crimson tapestry. Flowers I will give to thee. Gonna go back to the early days of rural America, when people had those front porches, that spirit that we so miss among our communities today. Sitting on a creaky old rocking chair. They say it's gonna rain, but we don't care, because I'm dancing with you all afternoon on the front porch with me. Waving to my neighbors as they're passing by, cooking up some chicken, bacon, apple pie, pretty as a rain cloud in the sky when you're on the front porch with me. Listen to the rhythm of a summer rain, tapping out a tempo on my window pane. Nothing like summer on a front porch swing, making my banjo ring. I'm playing my banjo on a rocking chair. You can play your fiddle in your underwear, just as pretty as a rainbow in your hair when you're on the front porch with me. Listen to the rhythm of a summer rain, tapping out a tempo on my window pane. Nothing like summer on a front porch swing, making my banjo ring. I'm playing my banjo on a rocking chair. They say it's gonna rain, but we don't care. I'm dancing with you all afternoon on the front porch with me. When you're on the front porch with me, when you're on the front porch. You know, we describe the Woodsongs broadcast as a multimedia front porch. People come from all over the world to be on the show, and the fact that it's all volunteer run, nobody gets paid, makes it a very loving experience. Is what we do on Mondays. I also decided that it was time to support the arts community, so did two things. Created Song Farmers, which is what musicians and artists do in a world where the music industry has failed them. You know, there's no more record store chains left in America. You know, the biggest retailer of CDs in America is Cracker Barrel? There's no CD players in cars anymore. There's no CD players in computers. Did you know the AM dial is going away? The new cars are coming out with AM dials gone in the cars. So things are really changing in the world of music. So we started something called Song Farmers. What does a musician do that can't make a living with music anymore? Well, just because music is not your livelihood, it doesn't mean that it is not a powerful part of your life. So if you go to songfarmers.org, songfarmers.org, you will see something amazing. There are 89 active chapters of Song Farmers. You know what they do? Once a month, they get together in their community. They get in a big circle with their friends and their neighbors and other musicians, and they sing the same songs together as a group. Nobody's on a stage. Nobody's a star. It's the community is the star. Music becomes that powerful unifying force of the front porch. Front porch is very, very powerful. Little old man, little old lady sitting on the front porch. Little old lady's just, the wife is just all full of love and full of appreciation, watching the sun go down. She looks at her little husband and she goes, "Can you believe it, honey? We've made it another year." And he nods his head and he looks at the sun going down. He goes, "Sure, honey, I'll have another beer." Front porch is the greatest stage in the world. It's the ticket to the universe. People watch the sun come up, sun go down. Little old wife and a little old husband are sitting on the front porch. Stop me if you've heard this before. They're sitting on the front porch. They're watching the sun go down. Everything's just wonderful and peaceful, and they're just sitting on their front porch like they do every night. All of a sudden, the wife's eyebrows shoot up in her forehead. She gets bolt upright. She grabs her walking stick, and she hits her husband over the thigh. "What did you hit me for?" he cries out. She goes, "That's for all those years of bad sex." Well, he's all humiliated and embarrassed and fuming and stuff, and he's sitting there all frowning, and all of a sudden his eyebrows shoot up in his forehead, and he sits bolt upright, and he grabs his walking stick, and he whacks his wife over the knee. "What you hit me for?" she cries out. He says, "That's for knowing the difference." 89 active chapters celebrating the music of America's front porch, from Australia across the United States, Ireland. Little tiny Tellico Plains, Tennessee, a tiny little peanut of a town of about 500 people. They have an average of 200 showing up at their Song Farmer gatherings. Little Cabot, Arkansas, started in this living room, and they moved it to the public library, and the crowds were so big of people wanting just to be together on music. It was free. They're all free. That the local banks hired food trucks and stuff to come out and take care of everybody because the crowds were so big out there. Just people singing songs together. There's audience to listen to it. There's musicians dying to play and pick with each other, but they can't because the music business is no longer there for them. They're wonderful musicians. They're very passionate and they're very powerful with it, but there's nothing for them to do. Because they're not going to get booked, they're not going to get a record deal, they're not going to become famous. There's no longer a golden ring to grab. So the music business has really changed. The world of art has changed. So the second thing that I started is the Wood Songs Artist Gatherings. This is a working picnic for poets and painters and songwriters and authors. They come together for an afternoon. About 1 o'clock, they have a little coffee and a meet and greet, and then they go out into an estate or somebody's yard or a park, and the songwriters will write a song, and the painters will set up their easel and paint, and the poets will write a poem, and the song, everybody does their thing, and about 4 o'clock, they come together for a little presentation concert. And there's 14 of these happening all over the nation right. It's the first year. The world of art needs you more than anything in the world, because art is the artist, their song or their painting, but without the audience, there's nothing. You are more important than a record label or a booking agent or a publicist or anything. The audience is the third leg of the holy trinity of music and art. And it's all based on love, which is why Song Farmers and Wood Songs and the artist gatherings, they're all free, because people have to start learning to do things out of their heart, not their wallet. There's a front porch round the old home place, All my troubles disappear without a trace, and children play all summer long. The world feels right, like nothing's wrong, and fireflies dance on a starry night. Round the old front porch tonight, round the old front porch tonight. And there's a front porch round my true love's eyes. I could sit and watch that girl all my life, and in her eyes this world feels right. And she's a gentle and such a peaceful sight. And since the day that girl became my wife, I've had a front porch around my life. I've had a front porch round my life. We need a front porch round the world. We need a front porch round America. We gotta slow it down and learn to set a spell. Start serving lemonade instead of hell. I wish these leaders would outlaw fear. I wish they'd lead from a rocking chair. We need a front porch round the world. We need a front porch round the world. We need a front porch round this world. Well, you guys have been very nice. Thank you very much for hosting me out here. You're a wonderful audience. I want to leave you with the greatest artist suck story in the history of the art world. During the pandemic, everybody was home. I was like, what am I going to do with myself? So I started oil painting and studying the great artists of history. And lo and behold, I sold enough paintings of my own to finance the recording of an album called The Painter. And I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. And so I said, well, how hard is it to write a book about artists that painted? So I wrote a book about the art world and grand stories of these amazing artists that are world famous but died paupers in unmarked graves, and their paintings are worth millions and stuff. And, you know, stories like Paul Gauguin, this great famous painter who was an absolute pig of a human being that just was just obnoxious. He goes to Tahiti. He convinces the parish priest that he's this really religious guy and stuff, and they give him this little bit of land to build his little hut on, and he decides to name his hut the House of Orgasm. And he named his dog Penis. This is true. This is true. This is Paul Gauguin. His paintings are worth millions, and the guy was a jerk. What really intrigued me was the one painter that his mother hated him. She had a stillborn son, and then he was born next, and she was so heartbroken over the stillborn child that she gave the next son, him, the stillborn son's name. And he had to live in the shadow of a dead sibling, and his mother resented him for not being that first child. And so he tried to become a missionary, and he failed, and he tried to do this, and he failed, and he tried to do that, and he failed, and then he decided to become an artist. And he was terrible. He was horrible. People hated his work. They did not like him. He had a very strange ADD kind of a personality. He was frantic with his paintings. He was sloppy. He would use thick paints at a time where paintings were almost photographic in their perfection. His lines were thick, and sometimes in order for him to make sure he knew what it was he was painting, he'd outline it like it was a cartoon. And the gallery owners were just aghast and everything. And he went nuts and everything because he was such a failure and everything. And he went to this asylum, and he had this upstairs room at this asylum, and he'd look out at night through the bars in this insane asylum. He'd look out there and he'd see the skies and everything. And he would try to pray to a God that he did not believe in. He wasn't sure that there was anybody listening. And during the day, they would let him in the garden to paint, and he tried to paint what he saw at night, but he wanted to turn the painting into some kind of a prayer, begging this power, whatever it is, please hear me. I'm in trouble. I don't know how to reach you. And he missed home, so he painted a little village where there was no village, and he wanted to reach up to the skies, so he painted this huge cypress tree where there was no cypress tree, and he made his skies of stars in turmoil, and when he got done with it, everybody hated the painting, and he tried to give the painting away 3 times as a gift, and everybody turned it down because they didn't like it, and nobody bought it, and nobody wanted it, and he died. And 6 months later, his young brother died, and his brother's wife, named Joanna, sat in a little room in Paris for 10 years with hundreds of rolled up paintings from her dead brother-in-law that nobody liked. And she finally got a gallery in Paris to show the paintings, and all of a sudden, Vincent Van Gogh became a superstar. And the painting that nobody liked, the painting that he did from the upstairs insane asylum room through the bars trying to reach this God that wasn't there, is now insured for over $1 billion. I find a lot of personal encouragement in his story. Because you could leave, see, today, people will line up 2 and 3 city blocks. They'll pay $50, $75, $100, $200 a ticket just to see what's left of his paintings in museums all over the world. And when he's alive, he didn't sell a darn one of them. Well, he sold one to a fellow artist who felt sorry for him. You may leave here tonight and you might think, well, Michael Johnathon kind of sucks. And that's okay. Because like Vincent Van Gogh, I know that someday people are going to line up to gaze upon the covers of the books and albums that you did not buy tonight. But to every artist, to every person who wants to be an artist, no matter when you start, no matter what your age, young or old, every human being has a right of expression and a right to be heard. And the greatest gift that you can give any artist is the gift that you gave me tonight, is to sit and just listen for a while. And for that, I thank you. Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hill, sketch the trees and daffodil. Catch the breeze and winter chill in colors on the snowy linen land. Oh, now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you struggled for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers brightly blaze, swirling stars in violet haze reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, and colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain are soothed beneath this artist's loving hand. Oh, now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you struggled for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, and still your love was true. And when no hope was left in sight, on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. Oh, but I could have told you, Vincent, this world was meant for none as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget all those strangers that you've met, all the ragged men in ragged clothes, the silver thorns of bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. And now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you struggled for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, now that I'm all mellowed out, you know I told you about something, didn't I? What? What?
I didn't know she was 12.
Oh. Woo. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to point out the fact, new this week on all of the tables is a volunteer sign-up sheet. So if you feel so inclined, jump on one of those, and if we run out, we'll make more. Also, pointing out the fact that on the back shows all of the people who are coming now through the end of September. So if you see somebody that you like, you might want to give them a listen and then come on down. We're here every Friday night. But nobody gets out of the coffee house without an encore. Oh. Yeah. Remember I told you. All right, he's got it. Okay, so with that, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Bob. Again, I apologize for the way I'm dressed tonight. I tore out of Kentucky so fast with these torrential rains that, like, who's that homeless guy that said he's on TV? So I think what I'll play for you is I saw an opera. I was like, how hard is it to write an opera? So I wrote a traditional opera about the day Woody Guthrie wrote This Land Is Your Land. If you go to woodyguthrieopera.com, we recorded the arias with full symphony and actual Metropolitan Opera singers and everything. I'm going to play you the song of the end of Act 1 when Woody Guthrie hears Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America, and he hated that song, despised it, because he was like, what is God blessing? The world is at war, and there's hundreds of thousands of men that can't find jobs, and they're on soup lines, and there's this big dust storm going on, and everybody's being displaced, looking for jobs that are promised but not even there, and he's like, that's crazy. So he wrote an anti-God Bless America song called This Land Is Your Land, based on his communist point of view. This land is your land, this land is my land. But at the end of Act 1, he's in a cafe with Pete Seeger and Paul Robeson, and that song comes on the radio, and Woody Guthrie says, I hate that song. And Pete says, why do you hate it? And he says, I don't believe in that song. And Pete says, well, what do you believe? And this is Woody Guthrie's answer in the Woody Guthrie Opera. Now, I'm not an opera singer, but picture an opera singer singing this with a big symphony orchestra behind them. I believe in redemption, and I believe in the truth. I believe there's a moment when all that is good comes shining on through. And I believe in transitions. Sometimes change can be good. It's a steady confusion of life that transforms us from old into new. And I believe nothing could be so fine as love and forgiveness and mercy divine. And I believe nothing could be so fine as love and forgiveness and mercy divine. And I believe in remorse, that forgiveness is truth, and nothing else matters except for the love between me and you. And I believe nothing could be so fine as love and forgiveness and mercy divine. As love and forgiveness and mercy divine. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.